Alright, so today's video we're going to be watching a Diamond 3 DPS on PC playing Tracer. And they say, during this game, I felt like I did pretty well, focusing on creating and contesting different angles as well as being annoying. However, midway through the third point, my cast asked me to switch. I guess because of my death count, and it created some doubt whether I was as involved and useful as I thought I was. I will spoil my death count, 10, but not the result, as I would like to know if I should have played more to survive, or if they were as warranted as I believe. I know I made some mistakes / overcommitments, and my aim could have been more stable, but I do think I made some plays throughout and would like to get some tips to improve my gameplay further, and get my DPS rank closer to the other roles. Am I wrong, and should I have switched? Well, let's find out and go from there. I'm ready. And so far, you're just going for backline, playing fine. Yep. You have no cooldowns here, remember. So just be careful of... But you're good. Yep. So far, you're doing everything fine, yeah. Outside of some cooldown management, it's been good. Here, go TP'd out. That's a free kill. Yep. I mean, so far you're doing everything you want to do. Not giving them really any time to settle. The only thing you could clean up on slightly is just remember that like your cooldowns can be very important. So when you button mash them or spam them, you're gonna run into an issue where you need them and then you won't have them. But outside of that, like you're doing good. Backline pressure's solid here. Try to recall out to play to live. Okay, yeah, this is what I mean. So right there. You got out and you end up wasting your pulse bomb, but do you see how you kind of wasting your cooldowns and not thinking about your escape was the problem? So just remember not to do that consistently. And if your death count was what it says, that might be what your problem already is, but we'll see. We'll see. Because like as Tracer, like listen, you get randomly headshot and you fall over, that's fine. But if you end up just like wasting like all your cooldowns in their backline consistently, that might be the problem. We'll see. I don't know how many times I'll say we'll see in the next 2 minutes, but apparently I did it twice already. Yep. Partially, they're doing a good job peeling back for you, but again, you're overcommitting. You said you think they need to calm their aim. Now, their aiming's actually been kind of like fine for me. Again, like sometimes, and I've talked about this a lot with Tracer. Don't get me wrong. Listen, if you can one clip all day long. But like, you don't always have to one clip to be a really good Tracer. You just need to put pressure on their backline and survive. And that's what, like when I play against good Tracers, the Tracers that basically can, you know, hit really good shots but also survive, like play to live most of the time, are the ones that I struggle the most against because, you know, even when I do try to help, they just get away and then just go again, and it's constant pressure. So you've done a decent job of that thus far, right? Outside of like overcommitting cooldowns. But so far it's been good. Outside of the couple things we mentioned. Set up now. Here we go. Nice stick. You're not pushing in. This is a reason why, Chad, this was a good play by the Tracer. Notice it wasn't like Tracer wasn't super overcommitting to backlines the whole time and was playing on the angle and being annoying. That was really smart. So far, your gameplay here on University has been really solid. Also, this is my time to let people know the reason why this map is called University is because it's a university. And if you look right here, you can see a lecture hall. See? Sorry, I had to do that. All right.
This ends now.
Yeah. Guys, you know, might as well show people that one. All right, first round, pretty clean. Outside of some overcommitment on your cooldowns, I'm not upset with your gameplay thus far. So let's see how your second round goes, because obviously they tell you to swap at a certain point. This must be the round where you get farmed on deaths. We'll see, though. This is in Diamond. Yep. This map's a little bit tougher to do than what you wanted to do. You're not playing to live here, right? You're playing to, like, basically stay involved in the team fight the whole time. At this point, If I was going up against a Tracer that was going to really be difficult to kill here, you're going to back away here for a second and you're going to hide. And the reason why you're going to do that is because they've already kind of figured out where you're at and they're already putting pressure on you. So if you're stuck here, you're already going to be in a rough spot. If I'm playing against a Tracer here and they just stay here, I'm going to be able to at least make it difficult for the Tracer to get value. So just go reset. You can take opportunity to go back this way and start making noise here. You're like, yeah, but there's a Cassidy. Yeah, So let me ask you a question. If you're a Tracer who's playing to live and you're surviving and you're in their backline making noise, is that Cassidy going to ignore you? Nope. And if they do, now you have a free kill. So play to survive there more than playing to get those kills at the beginning of the team fight. Because I think that you were just so focused on trying to get like intense value there that it's okay just to go to the back, survive, and re-rotate back in my opinion. Like right now, play to live, play to live. Your teammates already have the behind you. Just don't even, just prioritize getting to spawn doors. Yes, there you go. Much better. Because your teammates have the point right now. So they're going to be in your back line and then they're just giving up the point. You're going to end up having a surrounded on them. Yep. Now go for their supports. Good sleep by their Ana. Nice job. Yeah, okay. Good job. Now that you got Hinder out, you're good. Yep. Perfect. Well played. That was great. See how you played to live there? Didn't overdo it? Much better than the previous. Good job. A little bit ambitious because your cooldowns. Okay, setting up for a flank play. Remember, there's a Cassidy on their team, so you got to be wary of that Cassidy getting a Hinder on you. And also, Hinder's a little bit more punishing now. For anybody who doesn't know, it used to be 0.9 seconds that you're stunned for, or like, you know, unable to do stuff. It's 1.2 seconds now, I think, is the new number. That is a long time in Overwatch, I'll tell you that much. Like, that it's easy to follow up on you, so you got to be really careful there. But so far, again, not bad. Yep, you have really no good option here outside of either dying on point or going for one more kill. You did that. That's just fine. This feels like a good example of their aim just needing a little more second to calm down. You know, honestly, is it weird that I haven't really even questioned their aim too much? Keep in mind, there's also, if anybody doesn't know, recently they made a change to Tracer that's added a little bit more inconsistency to the shots. So what would normally look like it would be like a really good, like, one clip can be a little bit more inconsistent now. I don't know if you've seen any of those clips recently with that, where like you can do like the same pattern, but because they changed how the spread works on it, it's like a little bit worse. It's also a reason why we may not see as much Tracer for the upcoming OWCS stuff, is because it's a little bit too inconsistent. So I think that like you don't need to have the one clip aim all the time. You just need to have good aim with survivability to get really good value. And I think that is kind of what you're seeing. I don't really feel like they're missing a ton. I think that like, could they settle their aim a little bit? Yeah, but that's the least of my worries right now. That's the least of my worries for them. Great play. Yeah. That one's like one of those unpredictable like Ana grenades on you. Like, I can see why you didn't really think of more movement there. So I'm just going to chalk that up to a good play from Ana. Remember, you don't have your recall. Talking about your death count right here, everybody in Overwatch will go through that. Sometimes you just run back a couple team fights in a row and the other players just hit good shots. That was just a good chain of events by their team. I felt like your team didn't really settle. All of you had an opportunity to make a play there, and all of you just didn't really quite take advantage of that. It happens in Overwatch, in every rank. So, no deflect Genji. I get the idea. I don't like the timing on a deflect duel. I feel like I always mistime it, and next thing I know, I either get that deflected on me or I don't do anything. So the animation sometimes feels like it lingers. On the deflect, that is. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just like, just a me thing. Or doesn't linger, that is. Like, it has like a lingering effect on it. Oh, well, yeah, good. High noon. Oh, yep, your cooldown. This is what I meant, by the way. That right there felt like you try to do too much. I think this is a good thing to think about sometimes, because I think sometimes players won't necessarily look at this aspect of it. You hear that high noon, right? And you think, like, you hear that high noon and you think, well, I got to avoid this high noon, right? But I also got to try to make some pressure on them during that high noon for my teammates. Let me ask you this question. if they're high noon and where are your teammates? Without even looking at where they're at because they could be in like a different spot. But like if they're high nooning, there's a good chance your teammates are hiding and not able to help you. So the only logical, like not logical, but like the only play that could be advantageous for your team there is you just surviving because your teammates are probably already backing out of that, right? Until you hear that shot, you know, you hear the Cassidy shoot the high noon, there's a good chance your teammates are hiding, playing further back, which means that unless you have all your cooldowns or insane movement or like the best one clip of all time, like on 3 people, just play to live there. Don't even try to do anything else. Now, of course you do, right? Like that's what we're looking at, but like they could have easily gotten you there. So I want you to think about that next time with like when a high noon is going off, right? I know that your teammates need to tap, but sometimes you also need to trust that's going to happen, right? So anyway. Target focus. Diana should have been your target focus for the majority of that because I think that Ana dies there. You have a much better team fight. Instead, you went for other targets. Diana survives, and now they win the whole team fight. So that was a target focus issue. Now, going back to what the Cassidy said that you need to swap, you're not like, you know, all that. I think you're doing fine on Tracer. Keep in mind, could you do better? Yes, but that's what we're explaining to you right now with that, right? Like, that's what I'm trying to explain to you right now. So I wouldn't swap off Tracer here. I think you've been doing just fine. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong on that. I think your Tracer gameplay has been more than efficient enough for Tracer gameplay right now. That's my take. I think you're fine on Tracer. Okay, let me point this out. You don't want your score line to be 20 and 20 for the most part. There could be a rare case of that where like it is worth it, like something, you know, is crazy. But sometimes in Overwatch, you just have an unlucky streak of deaths, or you have deaths that you wouldn't normally have. Let me give you an example. Unlucky part of it. Not unlucky. I say unlucky, but more like, let's say good play by the other team, not a bad play by you. Cassidy hits a sick headshot on you at half HP. That's a good play, right? Okay, you get rolled on the first team fight because you don't really know where they're at. They hit a good play. That's what happened to you on the first one. All right, you went a little bit too aggressive. Great. At the end of the round right there, you died to the just trying to touch the point. Right there, that's 3 deaths. 2 out of 3 of them, kind of unpreventable, if that makes sense. Actually, no, the Ana grenade too. So 3 out of 4 of your deaths that round were unpreventable. Just a good play. Half the time it's going to get you. Half the time you're going to survive that and not get any of those deaths. The point I'm making is like, they're really focused on your death count, but they're not taking into account why your death count is. If you have to be the one to touch the point last, you're going to farm an extra death, right? It's just going to happen. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that happens. Here we go. Mega jet. Backline pressure. I'm gonna let this happen and see what happens. Yep. So here's the problem you're doing. I think you need to really get better at your cooldown management as Tracer, regardless of how many, like, I really feel like right now one of the problems you're making is you feel like you have to be in their team, like, constantly and just in there no matter what your cooldowns are. But there's been many times thus far where you'll have no recall and your first reaction is to get right back to the battle rather than kind of play around your cooldowns, right? Because that's what's going to really help you survive on Tracer a lot of the time. So, like, listen, you want to get in their backline, do a bunch of shots, great. But, like, once you have no cooldowns, you need to adjust your playstyle ever so slightly just to make sure that you have an escape regardless. Something you can think about going forward is, okay, I don't have recall. If, 1, I need to manage my blinks correctly now. 2, where can I go to? Like where am I going to escape to? And when you start thinking that way, you'll have a much better spot. But right now, it's a lot of like wasted cooldowns and you have no way to escape out. I want you to start to think about cooldown management with your blinks, and I want you to be okay with being out of the team fight for a second. Be okay with having to go play hide and seek for a second. Some of the good Tracers, like I said, they survive, then they disappear for a second. You're like, well, do I wait for them? I could. Am I wasting time? And by the time that you're going to go make another play, they're already back on your back line and you don't know what to do. Yep. You have recall still available. There's your recall. One thing I will give credit to you on, you've done a good job of hitting your recall button. One of my biggest weaknesses on Tracer is trying to get too much value before I hit my recall, and then I don't hit, and I go, yep. You know what isn't value? Running back from spawn. So, what rank is this diamond? All right. Remember, you don't have recall right now, so you're gonna, you're playing this okay. Now you have your cooldowns again, so you can get back into kind of being slightly aggressive. Now you have no recall. Good stick. Wait it out a second. Now get out. I would have, after you got the stick on the Genji, gotten out. Because I think at that point, this goes to the, you have a numbers advantage. Why give them a numbers advantage back? Yes, you got res, but now you don't have res. Right? Now your Kiriko can't be res there. Now you're, someone else in your team can't be res because, like, you overextend there. So thankfully you have the points, so this could enable another team fight. I love your prioritization of going for a health back there. That is the correct play. Play to live right now. Good job. That was one of the first times I've seen you play to live rather than just not just running in on their team and start blasting. Of course, you got to go back to the point there. And there's a world where I actually would have liked to see you just play to live to be able to touch. Like your team can tap, it just won't be you or your Orisa. So, Melodic, thanks for the 65 months with the tier 1. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks. All right, you're just in their back line trying to like stay on the point to survive. You didn't hit recall. I would have hit recall a little bit sooner. Back to that survivability. Okay, this is overtime spawn, so you have a longer spawn. Remember, overtime spawns are longer, chat. That's why it feels like forever during overtime. All right, you're almost back to the team. Target priority. Good res by your Mercy. I like that you're going for the Tracer. Trusting that your team will get the point. Hitting your recall button. So far, clean. Now wait on your team. Don't give him a free pick. If the Tracer gets out, the Tracer gets out. Perfect. Also, yeah, Tracer escape. That's a good escape route. So, we watching? This is the spectating we're doing. See you later when Chef, and Jeff starts. Yep, it will be later. Yes. Good target priority on the back line. Remember, play to live now. Your goal here. See, this is the thing. Sometimes you're also trying to take too many pop shots. You hear a Tracer and Genji on you. I want you to play to live here at this point. I don't want them to have any opportunity to get you. Okay? So you already have a numbers advantage. Don't give them an opportunity to trade you out. Right? So you get the health back. You survive. Tracer's on the back line, and you win that. So only thing I didn't like there was when you turn around to go for the Genji. That was it. I think you just play to live there. It worked out. Now they have to run at the point back themselves. They have everybody up. Go for it to stick on the Orisa now because they're going to have no gold. Excellent timing. I love that. You forced out an early ultimate because of that with a good pulse bomb decision. There's the Tracer. And I think you should win this unless something miraculous happens with the blade. Good job. Yeah, so was it right for your teammate to ask you to swap off Tracer? No. I think your Tracer gameplay was a lot better than I think your teammate expected. I think that you do have a bit of an issue of staying too long in team fights. I again want to reiterate this point. Are you ready, everybody? Survivability as Tracer. Most heroes in general. Uptime and survivability is more important than the occasional one clip. Listen, you get to the point where you can hit your one clips and have the best movement in the world, then one, OWCS will be calling because that is what the Tracers will do. But two, that is a good way to dominate as Tracer. So I want you to prioritize survivability now because I think that your aim is solid. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be able to put pressure. Pressure doesn't necessarily mean kills. It just means making them have to actually look at you a lot, right? But you need to play to survive. There's a lot of times where they didn't take advantage of that, and they could have. To the death count thing, I would say about half of your deaths were just unpreventable. I say unpreventable in like, yes, technically you could have survived, but random auto grenades, good headshot by Cassidy, touching the point last second, you're fine. You did okay on that. So work on that movement more. The movement was solid, but I want you to think about survivability. I want you to think about your escape routes. You do that, you're going to climb. I think you will. I use a lot of good here. Oh, also cooldown management. Always have a blink. You got this. You absolutely got this. If you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe to the YouTubes if you haven't. Leave a comment. All of it helps. If you want to spectate, my Discord's where to do that. And if you want to watch more of these awesome videos, right on the bottom here, you're going to see a square. Click that. It's going to be a good one. With that being said, hope you all have an amazing day/night.